Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. I love how there are still Gracies fighting, and I love how Kron is carrying the family banner in the fucking UFC. He is a jiu-jitsu master, as you might imagine, modern day jiu-jitsu master. 5-1 as a pro in MMA, all 5 wins by submission, and the 1 loss by decision. The 1 loss comes to Cub Swanson, who neutralized him, and I think Cub was a little reluctant to overcommit, to commit too much to hurting Kron because Kron is so dangerous. You got to mind your P's and Q's. And that's something that he could probably carry with him throughout the rest of his career, knowing that his opponents are always going to be scared if he gets them down. And that might open up some of his offense, especially if he's learned some new tricks in the striking realm, or especially, I hope, the wrestling realm. But I say that because he's had a 3-year layoff. I don't know if I mentioned that. That Cub Swanson fight was 3 years ago or whatever, and he hasn't fought since. I assume he's been training based on the fact that he's back and he's ready to fight. 5 wins he's got, again, all 5 by submission. 3 of those are against really good competition. Alex Caceres in the UFC, Bruce Leroy, and his 2 before that were against Tatsuya Kawajiri and Hideo Takoro. Japanese legends, UFC level fighters, and Kawajiri, of course, was in the UFC. The Kawajiri fight is the only fight that he didn't finish in round 1. He finished that in round 2. And the Takoro fight was a finish in the 10th minute of the first round, because they do 10-minute rounds over there in Ryzen, at least sometimes. So it's good for him to get those submissions deeper into the fight. That's just good experience. But it wasn't enough to handle Cub Swanson, of course, who neutralized him. And that's what Jourdain's got to do here. I mean, he's got to know what he's got to do, which is keep the fight on the feet and make Kron Gracie uncomfortable. And Jourdain, he's a guy that turns things up. He turns things on as the fight goes on, and he's got great volume, great pressure. That Marcelo Rojo fight was just a perfect example of who he is as a fighter. That was a fight in which he was down 2 rounds, and much like Carlos Condit taking out Rory McDonald at UFC 115 in fucking Vancouver, Charles Jourdain took out Marcelo Rojo, got a big 3rd-round stoppage. That was fucking incredible. He's also had some fine moments against Lando Venata, guillotined him last year. That was a surprise, him getting it done via guillotine. His fight with Shane Burgos didn't go his way, but, that was a fight in which he was neutralized by wrestling. But Alexa, shut the fuck up. But he did really well on the feet, of course. Jourdain is a guy that just he's got great striking. He can be flashy and try to be too violent, but his volume is where it's at, in my opinion. He's been beaten 6 times, 5 times by decision, and all to UFC fighters or UFC level fighters, guys who have been there. Nathaniel Wood, Shane Burgos, Andre Fili, Desmond Green, and TJ Laramie, who had a cup of coffee in the UFC. And the 1 submission loss comes to Julian Erosa. Round 3 Darce choke, the Julian Erosa specialty. And Erosa's a dog fighter. Kron Gracie, I think he could submit anybody in round 3 just because he's got that jiu-jitsu pedigree, but he's not going to, I don't think he's going to be able to duplicate the Julian Erosa fight. Julian Erosa is a grinder and just a gritty son of a bitch. Kron Gracie, I still expect to be too uncomfortable to win that type of fight. I think Kron is going to be limited to getting a 1st-round submission here. Maybe 2nd round, but I really think 1st round is his primary path to victory. Like fucking 90% of his paths to victory end with a 1st-round submission. Which, of course, I've played, but I've played the round 1 flat because it's the same odds. So I may as well cover the TKO. But that's plus 375 for Kron Gracie. I think that is primarily his path to victory. And Charles Jourdain, I've bet on his money line. I think he could get the finish deeper into the fight, but he could just as easily get a decision because he's afraid to overcommit with the jiu-jitsu prowess and the overall danger that Kron brings if he makes a mistake. But Charles Jourdain, I expect him to be the better fighter. I think if he is in tight, he can hurt Kron Gracie just as well as he could on the outside. But he's not going to want to be in tight. And in general, I think if Jourdain does get taken down, he's got to survive 1 round. And then I like his chances. I think if he gets out of round one, I really like his chances. Kron Gracie could be a totally different fighter, though, and if he is, and if he's really worked on the things he needs to work on, he could definitely win this fight. And he could even win it later. But as of now, I'm seeing round one as his only path to victory, and after that, I like Jourdain. Jourdain is minus 170, and again, it was hedged with round one Kron Gracie. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit. Check out my other videos.